You're 22, crammed into a cramped, shared downtown studio apartment with hand-me-down furniture. Your phone's bill reminder page is cluttered. Monthly BNPL payments for your new smartphone, 2 fast fashion credit installments, and a revolving credit card you only ever pay the minimum balance on. After rent and mandatory utilities, nearly $480 of your take-home wage vanishes each month just servicing existing debt. It's past 11 p.m. You're curled up on a thin, thrifted mattress, scrolling short-form videos, watching peers your age post vacations, designer goods, and brand new vehicles all purchased via split payments. You constantly tell yourself everyone your age uses credit to afford nice things, that small monthly minimums are no big burden long term. But what would your entire adult life trajectory look like if you cut off every single form of buy now, pay later spending completely, starting right now at 22? Nearly every social media feed pushes one identical normalized narrative to people in their early 20s. Installments, credit cards, and BNPL are just standard adult tools to access fun, trendy items before you can fully afford them up front. Most young people accept this framing without questioning the permanent interest fees attached to every small splurge. Few pause to calculate the massive amount of compound wealth they surrender over 40 years by funneling steady chunks of every paycheck into non-deductible credit interest instead of growing assets. Here's a devastating global youth finance statistic most lifestyle creators never highlight. 78.3% of adults under 30 carry active consumer debt, and nearly 40% of their monthly take-home income goes exclusively toward minimum credit and BNPL repayments, not savings or investments. That steady outflow of cash isn't a minor temporary cost, it's a permanent drain on your decades-long compound growth potential starting the second you turn 22. Let's walk through the default life trajectory for the 22-year-old relying on every available form of advanced spending. You hold an entry-level job paying $3,600 after tax each month. Every new phone, seasonal wardrobe, weekend trip, and dining tab gets split into monthly installments. Your credit card balance rolls over indefinitely with only minimum payments submitted each cycle. The 18.25% standard revolving APR compounds interest month after month, so even steady full-time work never closes the core debt principal. When unexpected car repairs, medical costs, or temporary layoffs strike, you open new credit lines to cover gaps, sliding deeper into a multi-account debt spiral year after year. By 30, your total liquid investment assets sit under $11,000, all low-interest cash savings constantly eroded by annual inflation, while hundreds drain monthly to interest fees. At 45, you're forced to take consistent overtime hours and side gigs just to cover stacked minimum payments alongside rising living costs, with zero passive cash flow buffer to fall back on. When you reach 65 and hit standard retirement age, your total nest egg barely tops $145,000, barely enough to cover minimal basic expenses while still carrying lingering low-balance credit obligations. Most young people assume this cycle is unavoidable for anyone starting on entry-level wages, but it's almost entirely a product of normalized advanced spending habits locked in at 22. Most people completely misunderstand the irreversible opportunity cost of permanent credit interest payments. Let's run clear long-term compound numbers using the broad market's historical 7% after-tax average annual return. If you eliminate all BNPL and credit minimum payments at 22, redirecting that full $600 monthly debt budget straight into diversified index DCA contributions until 65, your total portfolio value will hit roughly $1,035,000 by retirement. If you carry that exact $600 monthly debt outflow to interest fees your entire working life instead of investing, you finish with just $145,000 in total assets at 65. That staggering $890,000 lifetime wealth gap exists solely based on whether you accepted small monthly advance spending installments starting at 22 or rejected them entirely. Now let's map the parallel life of the 22-year-old who bans all buy now, pay later products permanently the second they receive their first full paycheck. You take that identical $3,600 entry-level monthly salary, split cash into core living costs, modest leisure cash, and automated index investments before allocating any money to discretionary shopping, zero split payments, zero revolving credit balances carried month to month. You still afford small, enjoyable treats and occasional trips by saving lump sums up front instead of dragging out debt over months of interest charges. Every annual raise gets split half toward mild lifestyle upgrades and half to raising your monthly DCA investment amount slightly. By 30, your diversified index portfolio holds over $134,000 in steadily compounding assets, generating passive quarterly dividends with zero monthly debt obligations weighing on your cash flow. At 45, your yearly investment income fully covers all core household bills, granting you complete freedom to resign, draining full-time roles, pursue low-paying passion careers, or take multi-month unpaid breaks without financial ruin. By 65, your compounded asset base tops $1.035 million, built entirely from the same modest starting monthly income as the peer trapped in lifelong consumer debt cycles. If you're between 20 and 25, currently juggling multiple credit or BNPL monthly minimum payments, pause for a moment and drop a comment sharing your total monthly debt outflow amount. I'll calculate exactly how much compound wealth you could unlock long-term by redirecting that cash straight into investments instead of interest fees. Here's a truth almost every lifestyle influencer ignores. The steady monthly interest charges you pay for small installment splurges add up to more total money than most ordinary full-time workers earn across 20 consecutive years of regular employment. Every dollar wasted on credit fees is a dollar that can never compound for your retirement, emergency buffer, or life freedom later on. Nearly all finance content only talks about raw dollar losses from credit interest, yet it overlooks the transformative mental and career freedom that comes with zero consumer debt starting at 22. You eliminate the constant nightly anxiety scrolling upcoming bill due dates, no more panic over unexpected small emergencies that force new credit borrowing. You gain the unshakable confidence to walk away from toxic, underpaid jobs because recurring minimum payments no longer trap you in survival labor. You lose the social pressure to match peers' financed luxury lifestyles, knowing your quiet monthly investing builds long-term security they sacrifice for instant temporary gratification. These invisible quality of life shifts are just as valuable as the rising numbers in your brokerage account, yet they're almost never discussed by mainstream short-form creators. Have you ever stayed stuck in an exhausting, unfulfilling full-time job solely because stacks of monthly credit minimums left you with zero financial safety net to fall back on if you quit? That permanent constraint vanishes entirely once you cut off all advanced spending and redirect that cash flow to savings and investments starting in your early 20s. Many young adults mislabel avoiding BNPL and credit as extreme, boring austerity. The core reality is far simpler. Rejecting buy now, pay later plans is not about stripping all small, youthful joy from your life. It's about eliminating decades of compound interest waste and purchasing future career autonomy with every paycheck. You earn starting at 22. Cutting advanced spending unlocks 43 full years of compound growth. No debt-bound age peer can replicate. Choosing to carry steady consumer debt doesn't just cost you market returns, it costs you decades of flexible life choices you can never recover later in adulthood. Controlling credit and installment habits young doesn't make wealth appear overnight. It ensures every dollar you earn works for you long after you clock out each work shift, instead of lining financial institution profit margins forever. If you've watched all the way through and realize you've funneled hundreds of monthly wage dollars into credit interest year after year, hit like and save this breakdown for easy reference. My next upload will walk through a balanced, zero advance spending monthly budget template anyone with an entry-level 22-year-old paycheck can copy without eliminating all small life pleasures entirely. We endlessly scroll social media envying peers who freely splurge on split payment goods and trips, yet we rarely pause to calculate exactly how much lifelong financial security we surrender by adopting normalized consumer debt habits at 22. Cutting off every form of buy now, pay later spending in your early 20s won't make you wealthy instantly, but it rewrites every single financial decision you'll make for the next 4 decades of your adult life. The cash flow rules you lock in at 22 become the permanent blueprint for your midlife peace and retirement stability.